Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show, Fernando.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Today we have part 2 of the new Kicker LX 850.1 power amplifier. Today we are going to dig into clip and bass boost. So stay tuned. If you're like, hey, what do you mean part 2? Well, go back and watch part 1 and you'll know what I mean. We'll see you on the flip side. To understand how Kick EQ Plus works in the Kicker amplifier, we have to understand what these 5 controls do. The first one is the subsonic filter. This is a high-pass crossover between 10 and 80 Hertz. This can be useful to help the amplifier run more efficiently, limiting the subwoofer's performance in ranges that it might have trouble reproducing. Then we have the low-pass crossover, which is adjustable between 40 and 160 Hertz. For these demos, we'll be leaving it at 160 Hertz so that we can get the best graphical representation of what is happening. Frequency is adjustable between 20 and 80 Hertz, and you're going to dial this one band in to give you the best performance and try to fill the biggest hole in your subwoofer's performance. Bandwidth is the cue for the frequency that you pick. Q is going to determine how much the frequencies to the left and right of the center frequency are affected by the Kick EQ Plus volume control. This is a fun one because it has the number 1 and 5. And we all feel that 5 is bigger than 1, therefore I should put it to 5 because it's going to have the most effect. The problem is this is adjustment for Q, and the engineers know that the lower the Q here is how much more it's going to affect the left and right. The higher the Q is going to be the opposite. It's going to be very narrow. So 1 is wide, 5 is narrow, which we will be demonstrating. And then of course the Kick EQ Plus volume knob, which gives you up to 6 dBs of boost. For this demo, we have several tools that we are going to be using. First is the IRTA2, the 2-channel electrical RTA. This is giving us a graphical representation of what is coming out of the amplifier. Obviously, we'll be using an amplifier that's getting powered by a power supply out of screen over here. Now, some of you in the past video asked why there's a loop here. This is the remote turn-on loop. Because we're not doing this in a car, we're doing it on a bench. We need to provide 12 volts here in order for the amplifier to turn on. So we're just jumping it out of our constant 12 volts off of our power supply. In the background here is a DSP connected to a laptop that is what our signal is playing through. And the reason why we have the DSP in the background is so that we can emulate some factory settings that we're going to show in a little bit and how you can use this feature to help circumvent them. If you caught our last video where we talked about shock, now if you haven't watched our first video where we talked about shockwave, which is controlled by the bass knob here, you might want to do that because using the two of these together can be very helpful. For sound, we're just playing regular pink noise from our Educar Test and Tune app, and we're looking at that right here. Now we have it set up to a 1-second delay so that it moves kind of slow so that we can see what is going on. Now for the purpose of this demo, we want to start with everything turned down as far as bass boost goes. The first frequency up is going to be 80, and we're going to start with our Q at 5. Over here we could see there's no bass. All we have is something happening 60 and then all the low frequency here. That's just straight from the phone into this, so there's no filtering done through the DSP. For this first demo, we're just gonna look and see what bass boost actually does. Turn it all the way up to 6. As we can see here, we've just added this. It wasn't there, is that gonna go? I can turn it back down and it all disappears. Turn it up. So we've added in all of this energy right here, but as we can see, there's kind of a gap here, and well, there's nothing happening here, but there's definitely some form of a gap in this area. That is because we are using the Q of 5, which as we said is very limited. We want it to be fatter. Slowly turning up the Q, we can start to grow this area out. Start to see it fill in as we keep turning. You're starting to see some action down here. That hole is getting smaller and smaller. And now we're at a Q of 1, and that hole is starting to disappear. Now go back to 5 really quick. You'll notice that huge gap. Go back to 1. and it's filling that in. So as you can see, the benefit here is depending on where your box is tuned to, what form of anomalies might be happening in your vehicle, using something like this can be very helpful to add in dynamics that aren't there. Resetting this back to our begin point and looking at this has not changed, our volume has not changed. What has changed is we've added a 50 hertz high pass filter to our bass signal. So our bass is still there, and if we were to circumvent it, all of that would come back. It's gone now. Keeping it at 80, turning up our bass boost, and then adjusting our Q, we can see that we've added that same amount of energy that was there before, but now it's more localized because we've added in that high pass crossover that some factory systems have. Now I can turn my dial down lower from 80. We can start to see it moving and filling in where that bass didn't exist before. So now we have much more energy here in the lower frequency range. So as scary as bass boost seems, in a situation like this where we have a factory radio that has funniness going on, we've now brought back some of that into our system and allowed us to get some of that nice rich bass that we were missing. Even though this amplifier puts out 960 watts according to this, if the signal that you're trying to amplify is not there, it is not going to put out that power. We know that if this high pass filter wasn't there, that energy would be there and we wouldn't have to be using our bass boost. So let's plug in the bass knob and we'll take a look what adding shock to bass boost will do. We'll click through to shock. Right now it's all the way down. We'll start turning it up, and as we can see, holy crap, yeah, that. So what we've done is we've used the bass boost to fill in the gap that was missing because of the factory signal, and now we're using shock to take it to the next level. What do you think, Fernando?
Oh, I love it.
One really cool thing about the kicker amplifier is you'll notice that these two knobs are red and they're kind of clear. The reason why they're like that is this one in particular, the gain, has an LED behind it. So we'll dim the lights so we can see this next test. We're still playing the same test tracks. We haven't changed anything. We still have that 50 hertz high pass from the factory going on. Let's turn up the gain here. Oh, and then we see that light come on to indicate that we are clipping. Let's turn it down, light goes off, we've stopped clipping. Now there's a bunch of different ways in which you can set up this. You can go to Kicker's website and download all their 40 hertz. They have a 0, they have a 5, 10, 15, 20, I think it goes all the way up to 30 maybe. They have a lot of downloadable 40 hertz test tones to do this. One of the ways I like to do it though, and this is just my personal preference, is by playing my most dynamic, loud, bass crazy music and then turning it up until I get that light to go on. And then I will go back and I'll play my most mellow music and I might turn it up a little bit more. And just somewhere in between those two is going to be a happy spot to where this is going to put out bass for my most quietest, mellowest bass and my most loudest bass, knowing that I still have a volume knob on the radio which I can turn things down and turn things up. The other nice thing that's true too is that the bass knob here also has a clip light indicator, and there we go. As the light turns on here, we get a clip light indicator right here on our bass knob as well. This is a hint for you to turn this thing down. This allows you to take full advantage of setting up this gain properly and getting the most out of your system using bass boost and shock as well to give you nice, luscious bass. Well, that's it, guys. This is part 2 on the LX series of amplifiers. And this particular one is the 850.1. Part 3 is going to be the one that you guys are just chomping at the bit for, and that is going to be we're going to dyno this bad boy and see what it is capable of doing. I'm pretty excited about that. What about you, Fernando?
Oh, I'm shocking.
It's shocking. You love the dynos, I know it, and you guys love them too, so stay tuned for part 3. But for right now, you guys have a great day as always. Fernando, if you please.
On to the next one, guys.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.